them in race 2. So there's the Royal Oak 4 Pines, a fantastic pub in Double Bay. Anyone who's local to Sydney, and if you're not local to Sydney, coming here on a holiday, you look at Sydney Harbour, look at this race, you can think, tell you what, I might go there for a little trip. Well, when you do go to Double Bay, check out the pub. It's an awesome pub, great food, just down the road from the 85th Skiff Club.
Tell them Mark sent you and put it on your tab.
Say again?
Tell them you sent them and put it on your tab down there.
Of course, of course. Well, it'd be my privilege.
The Vintech, there you go. 8th, great
Yeah,
result. They've
Vintech,
come good in the last couple of weeks.
Up in the top 3 today at times, looking competitive, fell off the edge just at the end. Is that a complete surprise, Jimmy, or is it just enough calibre in that crew that actually that's kind of where they should expect to be?
Look, I expect probably with that crew they got now, Mark, that they're going to actually be somewhat a bit more consistent, a bit better. But I think, you know, Matty Walk hasn't sailed for 2 years or thereabouts, so he might be a little bit puffed.
Rusty.
But
he's a big unit with a bunch of skills, isn't he, basically?
Yep.
And it's
Close one
any
there.
kind of breeze, he's the kind of guy you want to have on board.
Mate, he's a great guy to have on
Yeah,
board, like,
I agree.
mental man up the bow, that's all you want.
So Marcus Ashley-Jones on URM, he was saying to me, this is his team for the JJs. Had a few changes. He's changed sponsor, obviously, a few little crew changes, and that is his team, and he's pretty happy with his team. He's going to be fully focused on a JJ performance. Today, he came off the start line, I remember well, held his lane really nicely, and then after that, we saw him up the first half of the beat, then wasn't in the leading group. So he's probably, the speed isn't quite where he needs it yet, but he's got a bit of time to sort that out. Del Zotto crossed the line just after URM. URM, by the way, are a waste management company, one of the biggest ones that service the Sydney region. And next across the line is Ilve. They need no introduction. That's the boat with the funkiest, coolest colour scheme on the harbour. Used to be skippered by our own Aeromedia's boss, John O'Whitty.
Last year it was. This year it's Pedro all the way.
It is this year, that's right. Last year it was Jono. Jono is drone piloting on board today. All those great drone shots courtesy of Aeromedia, and John O'Whitty is the pilot. Next across the line, Rag and Famish.
Brycey, Rory and Jacob.
And I'm looking upwind and I'm seeing the next boats to come down. Well, there's definitely Noakes Blue. Noakes Red, I think, are also there. They were a late starter, I think.
I don't think they actually started that first race. Well, if
I
they did, they had an accident early on and they didn't really
I did
play
see them
part in it.
sailing, but a long way back.
Yeah.
We'll get to them in a second. We got Yandu is next. Yandu's got a bit of a crew shake-up today. They've got Simon Shaw. TV screens is
Objectively 2 race days, don't get told that it's a 2 race day. That part gets left out of the conversation.
It's a little secret. Hey, look, there's the Queensland, a boat from Queensland down here sailing through to the JJs. Now it's David Hayter, and he is the top 14 sailor in Australia. At the top, he's the 14 national champion, sailing with his crew, and that's Yvette on Noakes Blue, just crossing the line, just in parallel with him. Brigadier Point Marina we're seeing coming down here, as well as Appliances Online. Appliances Online, we're not used to seeing them at the back of the fleet. I assume they had a drama. Did you see anything, Bucko?
No, I didn't, but you'd have to assume they've been on the writing lever, mate.
Yeah. Now, look, just briefly, the reason I'm watching, I wasn't commentating with you guys, but I was watching your commentary, and Brett Munster was at the top of the fleet. He was winning races, he was fully competitive, and not so much the last few weeks. Any idea what's going on there?
I do speak with Brett on a fairly regular basis, and he doesn't know.
So it's one of those
Good
ones. There's something just not working.
Well, I think they've had a problem, but if you recall, one day in Big Sail in about 8:10, they won both races extremely convincingly.
They did. That's what I remember thinking about that. And I think the next race they also followed up with another competitive performance.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just saying, well, this is what we've expected Brett to do for years. Now this year's his year, and now it's suddenly gone a bit quiet.
Yeah.
Just Birkenhead Point Marina just finishing there behind us. Mate,
And,
just
that
on the
is,
screen.
and Birkenhead, I think, is our final finisher. We can't see anyone else upwind. We don't know if Bird and Bear are going to get a fix in. We're not sure about Sean Langman on Noakes Red. We're hoping to see him on the race course. Either way around, we're going to get our next start off in the not too distant future. The race committee is still on station in the same place. The line is already set. Sailors will be taking a few gasps of oxygen, probably taking on a few liquids, and it won't be long till they're about to go for this all over again for race 2 of the Australian Championships. March the 1st here in Sydney Harbour, and the wind hasn't built like I thought it was going to. The forecast I saw, Bucko, you've probably got a more granular view on this, was broadly saying it's going to come up as the heat carries on, and I was expecting 20 knots by now. What do you think is actually going on here?
Well, it's the old problem of the heat island of the city to some degree. So down the bottom end of the course here, typically, you know, there's just too much land heat and too many buildings and kind of a windward lee shore, if you want to sort of use that terminology. You'll see that at Bradley's Head, it's probably now 16, 17. And I would expect there'll be a couple more little spikes. But it didn't augur well, perhaps, that we had the wind, you know, maybe 10 degrees to the left up the top of the beat there. And it's kind of a mixture of a nor'easter and an east nor'easter, you know. So
that's why it's not quite kicking in.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of breeze, isn't there? They're flying downwind. They're pretty much on the edge downwind at times, and upwind it's always 3 stringing, and they're all on small rigs as well.
Yeah, no, that's right.
But it's not a flaky breeze. It's not the gnarly northeasterly that this time of year you often get by 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, it's just late enough now. It's the 1st of March, isn't it?
It is today, 1st of March. It's a funnier old year when you get 29 days in February, so that was a bit of a weird one for some people. But we've had the leap year, the extra day, and here we are on March the 1st, and not that long to go till the JJ starts. Anyone who's interested in following the JJ, which an awful lot of you I know will be, and we'll get quite a big extra international audience for that. It is, of course, a 9-race series. We have 1 day off. I think 2 days off, don't we, actually? We start on a Saturday, Sunday, then we have a day off.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Friday practice race, isn't it?
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday for point scoring, then a day off, then we get 3 days, then a day off, and then we get 2 at the finish. And on 2 days, we have 2 races, and the rest of the day, it's the traditional courses. And by about the middle of it, we get a sense of where it all stands. But last year, we came out firing hard from the first moment it started. My memory of last year, Bucko, was that we had some pretty changeable weather. We had some weird days where the wind was inside out, light storms.
No,
whatever the weather was, the Kiwis were up to it.
It was tricky, that's for sure, and I was definitely up for it, exactly. So, and that's just typical Sydney March, you know, there's no way around that. You know, the water temperature's up, the sun is, you know, it's lost its full summertime poke a bit. So the thermal effects are less, and you know, the cold fronts tend not to get here quite so well. That's why you end up with funny stuff. Thunderstorms a little typical, as per last year. And we've seen, I don't know if you recall one day on this camera cat, we had, and you were not on the boat, I was here with Peter Shipway, I think, blinding rain and a sort of squall that went through, easterly squall that went through the fleet at about 25 knots. Nice. Went from 8 to 25 and back again to 8, you know.
Wow. Yeah. Proper tough stuff. Yeah, well, there's none of that on the forecast today, I'm sure, but there's every chance we will get that changeable, mixable weather come the JJ just a few weeks away.
Always nervous about the Kiwis because they keep very quiet.
They do, don't they?
We don't know what they're up to.
Well, they tried a bit of a misinformation campaign. They had a race series, and they did this rather sort of hammy video going, oh, we've been training, and it was really tough, and we're not going very well. And I'm not sure whether they seriously thought anyone was going to buy that. But they turned up on day one, all guns firing, looking beyond impressive. So I can only suspect that they're not that interested in giving the JJ back to the Aussies. My guess is they'll be training hard as you like.
Well, Mark, I think the other bit of incentive for them is that, in their view, if they win it again, it's definitely going to be held in Auckland next year.
Yeah,
you know?
They keep saying that. Stuff like, they say things like, the trophy will come to us, and John Winnie's going, you won the trophy, but it stays in Sydney, just so you know. And then, well, of course, the event comes to us, like the America's Cup. We're going, yeah, but it's not the America's Cup, and I don't think we'll get Sydney Harbour giving up the JJ anytime soon, as it shouldn't, because it is an extraordinary, not just an iconic venue, it's a brilliant venue, a challenging venue, a fantastic venue. This is the right place for it. It's going to stay here.
Auckland Harbour's no slouch, though, in any of those departments, is it? And
No, it's not. And look, we're getting this time next year, of course, the America's Cup will be on. It'll be the end of the Prada series. It'll be getting close to the match itself. We're going to get a chance to see the best of Auckland Harbour. Back in the old America's Cup days, the race courses were a million miles offshore, and it was just a long drag towards a buoy on the horizon. The courses they're planning to do for this America's Cup are pretty inshore. They're much shorter. You're going to get the backdrop of Rangitoto, of the Auckland CBD. It's going to be a bit more like a big version of Sydney Harbour. That, by the way, was the 4-minute gun. 5-minute gun, sorry. Yeah, you're right, Jimmy. Oh, the flags are going up and down a bit now.
They've got to count them as they come out, Mark.
You
That's
do.
the problem.
I couldn't see the
It's a
bottom
slow
one. So
process.
we're understarted orders for
No.
race 2.
Jimmy, this is a test. How many fingers am I holding up, right?
Yeah.
That I don't know. Let me take my shoes and socks off so I can count that.
There is a 5th flag down there, red flag. It's just hard
Blends
to see
right
caught up
in.
with all the rest. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was 5. That means 4 and a bit left. And on, if you want to sync your watches, if you're watching live with us, GPS time, it's 10 to 4 and 38 seconds here on Sydney Harbour. And if you're watching the recorded version, well, ignore that. But we will give you an accurate 4-minute. And you can set your watches at home. It's quite fun. When I
About
watch
10
racing, I want to know
seconds.
the timers. We tried doing on-screen timers, but that didn't work too well. And you've seen that SailGP had the same problem themselves yesterday. They've pretty much given up with on-screen timers because it's too hard to sync it with the delays that you get through the cloud. So now they kind of expect everybody just to work it out for themselves. But we're going to do better than that. We're going to give you the time. If you're watching live, if you're watching recorded, we'll commit to the time, and you can just set your watches to match ours, and you will know what's happening on the start. So that was the 4-minute gun you just saw just there. So it's now 3 minutes and 40 seconds from now. Runners and riders, any sign of our missing boats? I can't see them myself. I'm looking for Bird and Bear. I'm hoping they'll come back, and I'm sort of hoping that we'll see Sean Langman as well, but no sign of them at this point.
No, I think you can scratch those two for this one because it's only 4 minutes to go. More precisely, 3:20 to go. The riff-raff. Now, guys, just looking at this line again, Jones, the breeze a little further left in the middle of the river there. The line even more favoured towards the pin.
Yeah, winning group taking a nice close look at this starboard end of the line again. I think they're just going to do the same again and cruise down the line. And they're going to set for the pin. Is there any reason not to go with the pin again here, Bucko?
I don't think so. I mean, you can see the shape of the wind. There's not much wind at the committee boat where we are, and about 150 metres away, it's probably almost double, yeah?
It looks like that. Is that the sun or is that reality? I don't. It does look like that to my eyes as well. I'm just wondering if are we getting a little bit affected by the way the light reflects? Maybe not. Maybe you're right.
No. It's just that
There is more down there, basically. You're saying there just is more.
Just the upwash from the proximity.
Yeah.
Proximity
What
of
winning
Point
group
Piper.
were doing there, Mark, was pinging the line. So they go up when the front of the boat is right on the line. They press a button and they go down the other end, do it, and it tells them a distance to the start line. So. Because I was thinking, what are they doing? And just seeing Sevi pressing buttons on the boom.
Cool. And probably they'll get Sam to do an old-fashioned transit in case the whole system falls over the edge.
Yep.
So there are 2 ways of doing it, which is good. Gives you confidence on when to go fast forward. So that was the winning group. But in terms of where we are, you can see on camera what's just behind us. That's the camera looking backwards. There's Clark Island, the behind the line. To the right of the committee boat is Point Piper. It is a big landmass. It's only about 300-400 metres away. That's what Bucko was talking about, that big bit of tall landmass, a lot of expensive housing on it. The air sucks up over the top of that, and that creates a little bit of a mini vacuum where we are. Just diminishes the breeze. And it's a warm breeze today as well, isn't it? This is not nothing cold and dense in this air whatsoever. It's still in the high 20s.
Yeah, I know. It's it's at the offshore water temperature more or less. The air temperature where we are 25, probably 26.
1 minute and 15 seconds to go to the start now. Looking down the line, you can see a couple of boats down the far, and that's Winning Group, the boat in the far distance. Kitchen Maker on port down that end too. Shaw and Partners taking a look at it. Tech 2 are about halfway down the line. They're lining up for a nice spot to get to that pin without having to tackle jibe. But with 1 minute to go, there's enough breeze here. You wouldn't want to tackle jibe unless you absolutely had to. You may as well keep it nice and simple. That was your 1 minute gun you just heard then. Behind us is, we're looking at Appliances Online, Del Zotto, and all the rest of the fleet playing in a little bit more conservatively. Just popping out on the left of your picture now, there's the bulk of the fleet. But the guys committed down the left end of the line, it's looking like Tech 2, Finport, Winning Group, well, there's a surprise, our top 3 from the last race, and Shaw and Partners as well. all those top boats, they all want that pin. It's going to be a big battle for it. We'll try and give you the best shot we can to see who plays it. Jimmy Bury's got us beautifully positioned straight down the line. I can see the pin.
25
I can see
seconds.
the top boats. Not
Yeah.
long to go here. Ilve late for the line, to cross the line and going in the wrong direction of the committee boat. Smeg, a surprise boat to be up at the right-hand end of the line. That's where they are with 15 seconds to go. Down the hard left of the line. Winning Group in a bit of trouble. They're nearly teabag capsized to starboard, so they're not going to make a great start here. Shaw and Partners and Finport and Tech2 looking absolutely on the money. And URM as well. That was a great start from URM in the middle of the line, but that's a general recall. That's surprising. I thought that was going to be an individual recall. Happy days for Winning Group, who had a shocker there with a teabag tack just before the start. They would have ended up, third or fourth row, but luckily for them, it is a general recall. So I'm surprised with that, Bucko. I thought there was just a couple of boats over. How did you see it?
No, there was somebody was over in the middle, probably URM, and Shaw and Partners, I think, was also down at the pin. And it's just smooth watermark that we've got here now.
Yeah, it's smooth water. If the camera was pointing at the commentators, you'd think we're on Cape Horn doing a nighttime pass where we are. But here's the boats just bailing out in that general recall. We're just watching Yandu on screen. There's John Winning. There's Simon Shaw, debutant in the 80-foot skiff in the middle of the fleet. He's got a smile race. That's pretty good going for the beginning of race 2. We'll see what he looks like at the end of it. And Queen's land bearing away as well. Everybody just a quick check on what kind of angles, what upwind mode is, and then they'll come back for the start of the race.
And Mark, you would have seen it. There was plenty of wind once you got 100 yards in advance of the line off the lead of an lure in and lump as well. So this might be quite an interesting little segment coming up, I would say. Bit fatigue, a bit more lump, and a bit more wind. And a bit of water on the deck of the camera cap.
Yeah, there is a little bit. I was just seeing just a second ago, it was on camera a second ago, a large grey, we can see it with Tom Slingsby on board, coming out to watch his LG and probably just try and exercise the slight frustration of yesterday. Second is still second, but not the kind of way he wanted to go out in that match race, where they didn't really put up much of a fight for one reason or another. Don't think he's going to want to talk to us today. He did a lot of doing yesterday, and I kind of don't blame him out. But if we did get a cheeky chance to talk to him, I will see if either myself or Troy can have a word with him.
I think he's jumped off board. I think you've just got Ruffy Turner left on there. With,
that's very good. Where's
the
Tom
girls
gone?
with the harem?
Did you see
Tommy's gone home.
Did you see which way Tom jumped?
Tom, I've seen the GP boat coming back
jumped
out of
up and
race
gone home,
day.
is he?
So
Yeah, okay, so he's had
gone
enough of
home.
that.
He's gone home to play with Nala. There you go.
Go and play with the Cell GP at the game, which my 9-year-old young fella is obsessed by. It's quite a good game, actually. You get to enter, you play online, any other competitors turn up, so you race against you don't know who it is, but it's kind of fun. The races just take a few minutes, and it's kind of like the real thing in terms of what you do, sort of affects your performance. So anyone who wants to play a bit of an online game, have a look at the Cell GP app game. Now, the app itself is a little bit bland, a little bit slow to give you the data you want, in my critical view, but the game itself is pretty neat.
Mark, it looks as if they have indeed shortened the course access a little, like 1.5.
That is less. 1.8 before, I think, wasn't it? I think Jimmy was saying 7.
1.6.
1.7.
1.6.
1.6.
Well,
So,
brought it back a little.
okay, a little short of 0.25. Looking at wind, there's breeze. There's a bunch of boats still sailing up wind. I'm sure, I hope that they have heard this general recall, but they're sailing past Bradley's like they're racing. In the meantime, the race officer has already blown the and it's growing in momentum, and I hope they don't miss. But we won't be missing an event here in Sydney. The JJ Gilnam is going to take place, no doubt about that. So you are guaranteed at least one decent piece of sport to watch for the next month. Look out, go to our website, check the details, and you'll see we'll be starting local time at 2:45 each and every day. That is the same time, subject to any minor postponements, but broadly speaking, we're going to start on time if we can. The broadcast will start at 2:15 each and every day. We're planning to give you news from the boat park each day about 2:15, but we stay live from 2:15 right the way through to when the race starts 29 minutes later. And there will be lots of chance to hopefully get some on-the-water interviews as well. We're going to have a little roving reporting team who are just trying to sort their tech out today. They did a couple of interviews today. Troy got a nice interview in right at the very beginning, if you remember, with Keegan York, and we're going to try and do a lot more of that as the tech comes together. Today was just the first rehearsal in that. As well as the on-the-water interviews, we're going to give you all the footage that we give you. We'll have Jimmy, we'll be putting us in the right places. Bucko keeping us right up to date with what's going on with the boats, the racing, the rigs, the weather, and we're going to make sure you don't miss a moment of it. Keep any feedback you've got for us, particularly the stuff that's as helpful for us as possible, but actually any comments, we love them. Just the fact that you're engaged as an audience with us is awesome. So if you want to feedback to us, no problem at all. Talk to you. Put the comments in the YouTube or comments in Facebook if that's what we're watching, or on Twitter. We'll give you the Twitter handle details for the JJ closer to the time. But in the meantime, tell us what you think, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see more of, less of. Can't promise you we'll give you all that you want, but we will read the comments and we will assess where people's opinions lie. So we're now into less than 5 minutes, race number 2. We're under starter orders. That was 4 minutes exactly. As the winning group just passed between us, you'll see from the drone shot, there's us and there's the blue winning group hull just inside. So they'll be pleased about that last one. I didn't see what caused the tea bag, Bucko, but they were in decent shape with 40 seconds to go, and then all of a sudden they weren't. I think they just fell over to windward, couldn't get the boat going. So
yeah,
they'll
no,
be pretty pleased.
I think they just got a bit too close up, you know.
And
they
slowed down
didn't-
too much, you think, maybe?
Yeah.
Head to wind in these conditions, trying to stop's not easy to do, is it?
No,
You
not
dig
good.
the wing in one click too much, and you've been there, Jimmy, haven't you? You do it, and all of a sudden you're in all sort and a world of trouble.
You're in irons, and
Yeah,
it's
that's what happened
not a pretty
probably.
place. It's a fine line of trying to use the wing to slow yourself down without it spinning the boat around.
And that's just time on the water practice, isn't it? No matter how
Yeah.
good you are, no matter how many JJs you've won, like Sebi's won 7, and that's Sam Newton, I think he's won 6 or 5. But however many you've won, you still have to do time on the water as a threesome, back to the point we were talking at the beginning of the show with the winning group. If they can get the time on the water, they've got the horsepower, the knowledge, the skills, the track record to do this, but they've got to find the time to work together as a unit. We're hoping they do. From an Australian perspective, Kiwi's probably hoping that John Winning spends more time in the office in the next 3 weeks.
So just inside 3 minutes, so they're sort of stacking up. I think one of the things, Mark, that appears to be the case a little bit, winning group and I know Shaw and Partners both leaning pretty hard on the GPS into the start, and that's encouraging them to leave left margin for error, I think, as well.
And tide under them. How much tide here do they have under them? How big a factor is it?
At the pin, it might be 3/4 of a knot.
It's a proper factor.
Yeah, a proper factor.
sure.
A little one, but a proper one, yeah.
Yeah. So it's 7 minutes past 4 local time here in Sydney, a little bit later than normal because it's a 2-race day, which is unusual for us, but it's something we do a few times a year, and today it's kind of quite a nice day to do it. The harbour's getting emptier. An awful lot of the boats are returning from their lunch dates, and they have passed Bradley's Head, so it's probably getting a little bit quieter.
Yeah,
Well,
no, it
you're
does-
right on,
does-
Mark. At 3 o'clock, it was just
So I don't know what they're going to do now. In my view, they should drag the pin back about 30 metres or 40 metres. But it's pretty, and it's also quite windy. I don't know if you had a look at that, but Finn put on a bear away, just about bow under the waves.
I agree. Yeah, exactly right. So just watching the fleet there, you see this is the fleet. They know that there's a general recall. Finnport's bailed out early, so they're not going to get caught like they did last time. And I don't think, to be fair, the race officer will cut them the same slack 2 times in a row. He's going to start on time this time. But as they bear away on a 2-sailor, you can see how hard that manoeuvre is. Tells you quite clearly how much breeze there is.
Yeah, I can see that there's a black flag being hoisted, Mark.
Happy days. I love a black flag. It's my favourite flag in the world when it comes to yacht racing. I think it's the best rule. Personally, if I was race officer, I'd go black flag pretty much first start. Definitely second start.
When there was, Mark, a World Soling Championship held here on the Palm Beach Circle, and one of the sort of last events, you know, with Paul Elstrom still in his full prime, shall we say.
Yeah.
You know, and the line up there on the Palm Beach Circle is pretty awkward, and there's only about 2 spots that'll get you a good result, you know, 2/3 of the way down the line of where they put it in a nor'easter, you see. So they had a general recall the first start, and Elstrom didn't even line up for the next 2 starts. He just sat outside the committee boat and didn't waste any energy. And then the fourth start, he decided that he'd have a go, and that was the first time they actually got a start away.
That was your 5-minute gun. Yeah, that story doesn't surprise me at all. I've certainly taken part in a few races where that much the same story has happened. Yeah. But there are some start lines where it's inevitable the general's coming, and you kind of wonder why if you can't change the line because of geographical or tidal issues, and it does sometimes happen. Race officer's job is super hard. Just go to the black flag. Let the sailors have to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the best sailors always win out. You know, rarely do you say the black flag changed the result. The best guys find a way to be conservative. They still do well, and everybody hangs around a lot less.
Well, I mean, you know, one of the good things that this race committee has done over the last little while is really put the foot down and call people back and general recall the fleet.
I agree. I love it. I think it's a great thing. I hope we see that in JJ. I know doing in JJ as a race officer is a high-pressure position. The eyes of the world are on you, and the fact that we broadcast it all makes it even more so. Everyone wants to know what happened, and but I know they need to be confident. They need to kind of just decide what we're going to do, stick to it, and not be shy of the black flag, not be shy to call individual recalls, because that's just the way that it is, and I hope they'll do that. I think they probably will. Today is a good sign, not wasting too much time getting to a black flag. They did have option B, which of course was told to change the bias, but black flag's a simpler way of solving the same problem.
Yeah, no. Yeah, they got a boat down there. Yeah.
The other thing that these 2 generals has allowed to happen is Vintech, they were the boat that were in trouble that had to jump off air and radio for a rescue boat to go down there, Mark. So it's allowed them to get into the race, which is good.
Yeah. That's nice, and the breeze has maybe built a tiny bit as well. That's what's happened. The crews have had 2 practice starts, which is with the JJ coming up. Let's look at the bigger picture. Not a bad thing at all.
Breeze just up one more knot in the last bit. Yep. One more. Yep. And that's probably it for the day, almost. There's a cold front, Mark, which when I checked at 2 o'clock had not yet got to Gobo Island, so it's probably too far away. If it was a little closer, we'd see further compression of this. Of this, you know, northerly stream. But it's pretty good breeze now.
Just got to the skiff club at Manly and turned the air conditioner on. That's the extra, not coming from the nor'east, mate.
Open the door on the Corso, exactly.
2 minutes 40, or a little that, 2 minutes 30 seconds now till the start. Slightly more breeze than there was. Still big left end bias. So I still expect there's going to be a big rush to get down the end of the line. But remember, tide is under them, and that's what really proved the undoing in the last start. They're going to have to make a correction. Of course, the GPS doesn't help you too much with that tidal correction. You've just got to work that bit out for yourself. It tells you where the line is. It doesn't tell you too cleverly how the tide is going to affect your approach line, not with the kind of technology that these skiffs can carry. If you're on a big keel boat with a full expensive set of kit, you can actually get the predictive software going quite nicely, but these guys have to judge that for themselves. We're getting close to 2 minutes, so we're in 2 minutes.
Yeah, we're inside 1 minute 40, mate.
1 minute 45. Yep.
And the usual suspects are lining up for the leeward end. Who would have thought?
1 minute 35 now.
Tech 2, Shaw and Partners, Finport.
Yeah, just the same. This time URM. Ashley
Winning
Jones
Group.
having a little look at that end of the line, be a bit more aggressive down the left. Shaw and Partners, they've always wanted the pin, as has Tech 2, as has Winning Group. And Finport 2, Kitchen Maker, has also been pretty committed last couple of starts. To that end, we'll see whether they do it. That might, actually, they're down this end. I'm seeing them down this end right now. So the boat's on camera right now as we approach the 1 minute gun in about 5 seconds. If you want to set your watch for a nice accurate one here. 1 minute coming up in 3 seconds time.
Now,
There is your
indeed.
1 minute gun. And again, they're going to have to watch out. They're getting too close. Winning Group Tech 2. You wouldn't want be any closer than that with 1 minute to go.
No,
Down
the
this end of the line, it's Smeg. We're expecting them to be competitive in a second race. Plenty of
Jimmy.
good horsepower on board that boat. Kitchen Maker flying through across the top of them, trying to get down the other end of the line. Vintech down with us here, which is nice to see them back on the race course. Appliances on line here with Royal Oak and Ilve. But I think it's all going to be about the left end of the line. We are positioned right down the line. We can see the pin. We'll give you the best judgment we can. We're not sure we're going to be able to get a drone shot for you, but you can see it pretty clearly from the camera shot we've got for you here. And we've got less than 30 seconds to go. We can see Finport and Winning Group down there. I can see Tech 2 managing to do quite a nice little hovering in good position. Just to the right of your picture. You can see Birkenhead Point Marina.
7.
With 5 seconds to go,
5.
Finport and Winning Group looking great. Tech 2 looking a little bit behind the 8 ball here. Birkenhead Point Marina nicely positioned. And
Wow,
they're down
they-
the left end of the line. That
Just-
is a clear start.
Just okay.
The call from the race officer is everybody is clear. No second start on a black flag, so nobody has to get flicked out. Up here at the committee boat, Ilve having attacked right on the committee boat, and we got John Winning on camera. He's the second most right-hand boat. He's a long way behind the left-hand boats for the amount of bias there is. There's a load of bias, that's for sure, but you've still got to get out the left-hand corner. Boats in the middle that can hold a lane. Out of the right of the picture, you can see Shaw and Partners. They can still have a say in how this beat plays out. But up at the hard left end, it's looking like Winning Group are owning the pin with a cracking start. Finport just up to windward of them. Tech 2 and Birkenhead Point Marina and Shaw and Partners all in really good shape. And a little bit further back, Kitchen Maker and Smeg and Notes Blue and Vintech. They've all got plenty of work to do here. They're nowhere near Bradley's. Bit of a left shift here, Bucko, isn't it? How did this change strategically when you're this far away from Bradley's? How's this going to play out?
Well, the runway gets shorter, doesn't it? It shortens it by 400 or 500 metres, but the effect of the header is more pronounced, so the gain to the leeward boat tends to be actually greater. And you'll see that, Winning Group's got enough room here to tack and cross.
So
And
Winning Group really putting the squeeze on here. They've got that position. They're forcing people to sail high, slow, and Finport tacks away. First one out. Are they going to cross your end? They are clean across.
Yep.
Across Birkenhead Point Marina. Not a massive amount here, but you can see there, just to the right of Tech 2. There they are. Nice camera shot there. They're clear across. Keegan York will be pretty happy. He's got himself out of this corner. This corner can get ugly. But out ahead of us, Winning Group is the boat started most pin end. They're carrying on all the way into the lee of Bradley's. They mustn't go too far because at some point, Bucko, they run out of breeze.
Yeah, no, and a nice conservative tack. Good.
And there they go.
Yeah.
So Winning Group are getting out of the corner. They'll be clear across. They had the best start. Sail the first part of the beat very nicely. They go across in first place.
Beautiful. So a big squeezing match here. Tech 2 and URM, and Tech 2 can see that he can go another about 80.
Tech 2's about to
80
tack,
He's
Bucko.
about to tack.
Well, actually, I've just seen Finport bailing out of this. They must have a technical problem. They were sailing across there on port. They'd cleared everyone, and now they've E-sails. They're bearing way back to the start / back to the dock. Some problem. Finport out of this race. And they were in second place. They'd had probably the second best start. They tacked and cleared everyone apart from Winning Group, who are of course ahead of them. But they have bailed out for a reason we don't know. We'll bring you an update as and when we find out. Back on the race course, Winning Group are clear in first place. We're straight up here behind URM, United Resource Management, with Marcus Ashley Jones. He made a nice fist of that start, held his lane well, chose his moment to tack, and he's in the top 5 for sure. Might even be top 3. Just a leeward of him is Tech 2. And to leeward again of Tech 2 is Shaw and Partners, Birkenhead Point Marina, and the right-hand group is Vintech, Kitchen Maker, Smeg, and Appliances Online. That is your top 6 or 7, and still Finport sailing back to the dock. So clearly something has broken that's bad enough to mean they cannot find a way to complete this race, so that's a shame. One of our top contenders is out of it. Plenty of other boats to keep us interested and keep Winning Group honest. Remember, Winning Group were second in the first race. Keegan York and Finport won that first race, and in the last 2 months, each time there's been a 2-race day, we've had this weird phenomenon where the same boat has won both races. Statistically unlikely, but it's happened. Today it can't happen because Finport won the first one and they've now retired. So it's the first day that sequence will be broken. Maybe it'll be Winning Group after a second in race 1. Maybe they can stitch that together with a first. We'll see, but it's early days. It's the first beat of race number 2. Your leader on the water is the Winning Group. Second, Tech 2, and closely followed by URM. And in the same piece of water, Birkenhead Point Marina, Appliances Online, Shaw and Partners, and the Kitchen Maker. That is the leading group.
So just Mark had a good look at the URM mainsail setup there. A little bit different to the leaders. Be interesting to see how they go up the beat. Quite a bit of wind on, and where we are now, 18 knots probably at Bradley's Head here. See the Winning Group, full low trapeze wires for the crew. Head of the mainsail just flicking inside out a little tiny bit. And they're going towards the smoother water on the western shore and across some big powerboat wakes as well here.
They look committed to the right, to the left here, Bucker, didn't they?
Absolutely.
Just got to take the gin palace through the fleet as quick as you can.
Yeah, a lot of rough water. The rough water you see, there's some passing boats as well on camera. This rough water here is at least as rough as it looks on screen, probably more so. We're about to experience it here on the camera cat as the Winning Group, as she bashes around on that drone shot. You can see where there's the camera cat just behind. It feels like Cape Horn here. It will feel worse on a skip probably.
Jesus.
Pretty bumpy, and we've got a jet boat taking some punters out for a thrill ride just to add to the fun and adding to the degree of difficulty for our leader, the Winning Group. She heads into the left-hand side of the racetrack. Definitely smoother water here if there wasn't quite so much passing wash.
Yeah.
Decent tide, decent shift. This is the way they want to go. They're going to go hard into the left here. And I think they're going to find the rest of the fleet trying to follow them in as best they can. And the best of the rest at the moment in second position. It's a super tight boat race between URM and Tech 2. Nothing between the two of them. They're absolutely head-to-head on camera right now. There they are. And just passing behind them, Shaw and Partners, Kitchen Maker, Smeg, Vintech. Birkenhead Point Marine is still in this fight, as are Appliances Online. But a nice little battle between second and third, URM and Tech 2. We talked about Tech 2 having the pace to be fully competitive at the JJ. Well, it's a nice little speed test. URM in the advantage position, heading to leeward. Let's see if Jack McCartney can actually live in this position. At the moment, he's doing a decent job.
URM with a new Doyle jib. So interesting there. They've just got enough speed to creep out on him there, Mark. URM slightly faster than Tech 2 through the water.
Yeah, a little faster through, but I'm pretty impressed by how Tech 2 are just holding that lane. Pretty comfortable, but it's the kind of thing, if you've not quite got the right setup, you fall down awfully fast, don't you, to the leeward boat.
Yep.
But they're holding it. The URM obviously can't tack and cross, so Tech 2 will be pretty happy with how they're doing. A little bit fast forward would be, of course, even nicer, but I think he's happy just to hold that position. Winning Group are out of this corner and gone. They've got a probably solid 30-second lead right now, already stretching on the opposition. But URM and Tech 2 have slightly slowed each other down. Here comes the attack on Tech 2. So I think Tech 2 get out of this corner and they will try and see if they can match Winning Group. So Tech 2 get out of the corner.
Pretty nice tack on the Tech 2.
Super comfortable, isn't it? And there's URM putting their tack in.
Also pretty good.
Not bad. Just on camera you can see Birkenhead Point Marine attacking now. And Appliances Online just to the left of them also tacking. Yvette Heritage on Noakes Blue is just tacked. Also a very nice tack from them. Boat handling looking pretty good today, actually, Bucker. We haven't seen anything remotely shocking, and one or two really, really nice tacks.
Yeah, it's not the easiest day with a water bump, but over this side, not too bad, obviously. But yeah, you know, let's wait till we go up the second beat.
Yes, I agree. And let's look at the Barroway. The Barroway is going to be just a little bit challenging and a food for thought, the Barroway. I'd say they didn't really think about it last race. I think today there'll be a little bit of a chat on board about making sure everybody's in the right place for the Barroway. Enough things that could go wrong. So there's Birkenhead Point Marina just doing a little duck on the Royal Oak. To windward, there's Shaw and Partners, probably in about 5th position. Our leader still Winning Group. The very top of your picture, you might just see the blue hull and the black sails on starboard, crossing URM now. That is your leader winning group. And second place is still Tech 2, closely followed by URM. That's your top three, and the 4, 5, 6 battle is where you are right now. You're right in the battle. Camera Cat, as usual, gets you in the action. We don't have to be off the sides or rely entirely on drones. The drone gives us some amazing angles, but the Camera Cat gets you right up close and personal with these boats. You can imagine as if you're sailing a skiff right now, you're on Birkenhead Point Marina. To leeward, you see Smeg on starboard approaching, and you know you've got boats up to on your windward hip, Shore and Partners speed testing you. You're on your bow, you've got to hold your height on him. Plenty going on in the thought process of Birkenhead Point Marina, keeping the boat level, keeping it fast, keeping your heart rate under control. And whilst this is all going on, Bucko, they've got to keep thinking strategically, haven't they? Where they want to be on the racetrack, and how do you make sure you get on the right part, geographically, tidally, so it's not just boat on boat.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's enough wind now that tacking is getting a little bit more expensive, and a mucked up tack can cost you quite a bit, but the smooth water is one of the important things as well.
So the trade-off is what? Number of tacks versus smooth water.
Yeah, more or less. And the smooth water's all on the left edge, so if we didn't have enough reasons to come left the last race, we certainly have this race. And winning group just commandingly fast, aren't they? Wow.
Winning group are just opening up. They're gone.
I think you're right. We just saw Shore and Partners off the right of our picture, and there you see winning group now, nicely set up, looking like they're going upwind and full control. Nice tiny bit of windward heel. Nowhere near inside the rig. They're right bang in the middle of the range now of a small rig, so very comfortable for them. They're out on their own, heading off towards the middle. They're still middle left if you look at the harbour in total, and it wouldn't surprise us to see them coming back to the left again at some point. So that's your leader, the winning group, with Tech 2 and URM, who are all going different routes right now, but Tech 2 just tacking in front of us. And they're probably in second position. Shore and Partners, who we're looking at right now, they're in the middle of the harbour, who tacking onto starboard, coming back to the left, which is where we think the advantageous position is.
So we'll get on Tech 2 and just sort of show you the distance to from Tech 2 to winning group and then URM. So it's 1, 2, 3 there.
As you said, Jimmy, there's some gaps already, isn't there? I mean, winning group
huge gap.
Look launched.
Absolutely huge gap. They pulled the trigger and they've gone, mate. They're
So you can see Jack McCartney's on camera now, off his bow. That's winning group. She's a small dot because she's a long way away, and off to the starboard. We can see Jack McCartney probably can't. To leeward and also a long way ahead is URM. URM and Tech 2, remember, were bow to bow the last 2 times they crossed. So when they come together, we'll get a sense of whether the left, which is where Tech 2 has been, whether the left is still paying. Remember, Tech 2's had to put in more tax, as Bucko was saying. Tax are expensive, so maybe the price of the tax costs more than the gain of the left for tide. We're about to find out. And Bucko, the top mark, it's closer, isn't it? What's gone on?
Just here.
Just here. So in other words, well, we talked before, didn't we? The beat's shorter. Jimmy, quite a lot shorter, isn't it? We're already on ley line.
That's more than 0.1 of
That's more than 0.1. We're nowhere near that white lighthouse, which was our gauge last time. Nowhere near it. So Jack McCartney is laying, give or take. Winning group are tacking onto starboard on ley line. URM look like they've done really well here. Look like they're clear across Tech 2 and actually close right up onto winning group. To the right, didn't do badly, but I think URM just sailing well too. URM look like they're nicely in range on this rig. And Marcus Ashley-Jones, he hasn't been super competitive this year. A lot of stop-start crew changes. And of course he had that big smash and bang with the winning group a couple of weeks ago. But today, looking extremely comfortable and quick. There, round the top mark for the first time, is your leader. That's the winning group. Sailed a very nice first leg, but have been caught up a little bit at the top of this mark. Second round is going to be URM, who swapped positions with Tech 2, so not a massive difference in distance, but probably a gain to URM of about 5-6 boat lengths in total. Bear away to URM, a little bit more of a bow in there, not quite as polished as winning group, but perfectly safe. More of a boat handling check test for Tech 2, who've just done attack. Now they have to do a bear away, marginally down speed, but no problems for those guys. That's your 1, 2, 3. And next, I think, is going to be Smeg, but Bucko, some port tack approaches here. This could get interesting.
Thou shalt not approach on the port tack ley line.
I know, I've heard you say that before, and I think I think he got a point.
Repeat after me.
So here we go. Smeg on starboard. Kitchen Maker coming in fast, hot, out of the clouds, out of the sun on port. Got to execute a high tariff manoeuvre.
Shore and Partners overlaid.
And Bearaway set. Del Zotto coming in nice and comfortable. Nice ease jib. Plenty of space. Here we go, Kitchen Maker. Have you got the skills? Good job, lads. Great job by Kitchen Maker. That is not an easy manoeuvre. Next round go Del Zotto.
Shore and Partners. Wow.
Shore and Partners did an also really tough bit of boat handling, which might come to bite them. The Bearaway's looking ugly, but I reckon Doro's going to eventually sort that out. Bretman Munster takes the inside line. That'll do nicely. And there's Birkenhead, Point Marina. Super competitive first part of this beat, but fallen off the edge a little bit in the second half. Vet Heritage on Noakes Blue. Up with the mid-pack and the nice little Bearaway. Ooh, that hoist could get tricky. She's super deep on the hoist. And she controls it nicely. Well done, Yvette, and Royal Oak Hotel. Next back, and then behind them, Ilvi, Rag and Famish, Yandu, and the Queensland boat. That is your whole fleet. Everybody's upright. No swimmers at the top mark, though, Bucko, but that's only going to get hard at the top mark, isn't it? Next time round, and maybe a bit more seaway.
Yeah, it's got that look about it, but a fair bit of that seaway is powerboat wash.
Yeah, true.
You know, you just don't know. But they can be big and they can be dangerous, as we've seen. Quite interesting there, though, Mark. I think up the second half of that beat, Marcus Ashley Jones's boat was the fastest boat.
I think you're right. And I think also he was listening to you about not tacking too much.
Yeah.
I think what you said in the middle was 100% right, that there is an advantage side, but the tax suddenly went from a little bit expensive to very expensive if you got it even slightly wrong.
That's
and
right.
I think that was a big factor.
Yep.
So up in front of us, the winning group, you can just see at the top of your picture, have jibed. They're on port. There's our leader. URM have just jibed successfully. They are second. It's getting fresh enough now. You have to think about the jibes as well. We're up in the sort of 17, 18 knots now. Occasional puffs are slightly more, so it's well within the kind of range of these sailors and these rigs, but not a lot of time to make a mistake. That's for sure. You can definitely turn the boat over at this point in time. If you get it wrong, Del Zotto, they'll be jibing in about 40 seconds. We'll stay nice and close to them, see how they go. Tech 2 got her jibe away as well, and Smeg are just jibing now. They're going to be fine. And we're going to watch Del Zotto here. There's a bit of waves, a few waves from us, but much bigger waves from other passing boats. So they're going to have to work out how to do this. Here's Del Zotto with all the rest of the fleet inside, deciding to go. Del Zotto goes now.
So, Mark, if you watch that, Smeg, a safety first jibe where they hold the windward sheet on, hold the old sheet on.
Yeah, just that was off camera. Just talk us through the Smeg jibe. We're watching Del Zotto right now and the rest of the jibes. Just talk us through what Smeg did, because that looked a bit unusual. There was just a little. There is a capsize behind us, but that was a collision just behind us, actually just there. Birkenhead, Point Marina, and Vintech. Did they actually lock horns, or they just get in each other's way there, Bucko?
No, Vintech was on starboard, and the other guys jibed and didn't really have enough space. So
yeah, that was just behind us, just off camera.
Wow, bit of traffic.
It's nice and busy out here on the harbour. Appliances online we're keeping our eyes on, and Shore and Partners, whilst all that hectic stuff was going on, Shore and Partners just jibed out using their experience well before the rest, kept it cool and calm, and they're hammering through this fleet. Just briefly on that jibe of Smeg's, Bucko, tell us what happened.
Well, they're in a bit of bumpy water and plenty of wind, and so they just go through the jibe and don't try to execute anything on the chute until you're through the jibe fully, and some of the weight's on the windward wing, and then they just sort of flick the clue around the front of the jib. So that they do that, they're getting some forward force out of the chute with it on the wrong side, eased a little bit on the wrong side, and that stabilises the flow over the foils and tends to, take the bow down from them having to turn the boat up to get the mainsail across.
So full safety jibe, basically.
Yep.
So Kitchen Maker.
Oh, big
we got a capsize behind us. Del Zotto, while we're talking about Smeg and doing a safety jibe. Noakes Blue's a swimmer. Del Zotto's a swimmer. We were saying that it's just starting to get fruity enough. You have to think twice about what you do. Well, it includes going in a straight line as well. There are some really big waves here in the middle of the harbour. The wind is getting up. It's wind against tide, that's for sure.
Yeah, we just went through a big set of cruiser waves.
Yeah.
So
The picture might go on a little bit funny there for a second. We might have some water on the screen. It went through some big waves.
No.
The same problem the skiffs are having. We have two boats capsized, almost one after the other. Went bow down into some big cruiser waves, also extenuated by the tide. That's two of our fleet just flipped. And down the bottom mark, we can just see in the distance. I can bring you up to date. It's the winning group who are about to go around the bottom mark. They're still lead. They're still upright. Second is going to be a very close battle between Tech 2, who look like they've gone back into the lead, just jibed inside URM. But all the boat handling is becoming quite high tariff. Above all else, Bucko, I think it's the waves, isn't it, as much as the wind here. But this is a lot harder than it was only 5 minutes ago.
No, that's dead right. It's just the roughness of the water. So the lead isn't much. It's about sort of just less than 20 seconds.
It's
So that-
winning group,
Oh.
keep it tidy in first. Tech 2 in second, URM go round in third, a little bit ugly there just at the end, but the boat's upright, they've got the spinning crane kind of, not 3 on the wire, but I think there's more drama to happen down here at this turn mark. This is quite challenging. It's a bumpy old place, it's breezy, you got to turn a big corner. Next coming down here is Smeg. They were my pick to be very competitive today. That looks like as it gets uglier and windier, they're coming good. And there's Mick Lane keeping this whole thing under control. Quite a conservative rounding angle as Big Pete Harris gets that sail under control, tied it away. They go around in 4th position. And next down, coming down towards us here, is the Kitchen Maker. Remember, there are 2 bottom marks they can choose from, but I think they're all going to head up and go to the one we're on. Behind them is Shaw and Partners, followed by Appliances Online. And we know there's not much wrong with Brett Van Munster's boat handling. He'll probably be relishing this extra breeze. As Kitchen Maker wants to get round, she'll come up behind us, just off our transom. There's Kitchen Maker with Point Pipe in the background, and Shaw and Partners steaming in behind her. We'll try and get inside rights if possible. Maybe not quite overlap, but inside line for Shaw and Partners. Next, Appliances Online. And to an extent, just doing a tidy rounding here is not a bad bit of sailing, because it all gets a bit hectic down here. This is the bottom mark for the first time, and of course the last time. It's just one more beat and then a run back down to the finish, and that will be race 2 and the racing over for the day. So about another 20 minutes action of 80-foot skiff racing from Sydney Harbour for you to watch wherever you are positioned right now. Breeze is up a little bit, as we said. It is bumpy, particularly in the middle of the course. Not so much where we are here down at the bottom, but in the middle, properly bumpy. That's what caused all the drama. And we're looking
big
at
problem
Royal
on
Oak.
Ilvie after we just rounded our left. They're
Ilvie
going
about
for
to
a
swim here, Jimmy.
Yeah, we'll stay with Royal Oak. They're just having a swim.
Yeah, just
Getting
off to the
pointed
off
at where to
camera,
go,
there's
off people.
Ilvie just approaching the bottom mark. Things got a little ugly with their drop. They've gone for a swim, so it's another boat
Big
that's
prawn.
upside down. Back with the fleet, back with the boats that are the right way up, which is still the majority. Now we've had 4 or 5 capsizes. One caused by port and starboard, just pre-jibe. 2 caused just by nasty sea pattern. Another one caused by a bottom mark rounding that didn't go quite right. But most of the rest are fine. How much breeze here, Bucko? What's your read on conditions?
Yeah, I mean 18, and a little bit more probably at Bradley's. Pretty much, in line with the ECMW model.
Yeah, it's a proper grown-up northeasterly now, isn't it? It's a
It's,
nice thing to behold. It's a lovely thing to see.
Yeah.
Proper breeze developing.
The funnel, as we say, is operating, mate.
It is operating, but this is what these rigs and these boats are designed to do.
And just if you look ahead, the winning group just got smacked up at the headland. Wow. And they're in the Catabatic, and they're about to go in the tide.
Just off the
group,
bow, nice pick, and they're
capsized.
in the water. Winning group have capsized in there. Bucko, was that just a tack, or was that the vacuum in the corner?
No, vacuum and a little squirt.
So they just went too far in the end.
Correct.
So the big picture story here, Jack McCartney on Tech 2 tacked well before the vacuum in the corner. He's off and gone, middle of the harbour. He's now our leader.
No.
In second place
No,
is now
URM.
Marcus Astridos in URM. He saw what happened to winning group. He tacked well before that. Smegger in third place, and the winning group are still capsized. They tried to do a quick right, but that didn't work. They've capsized back the other way. So right now they're in a world of trouble off that corner. Let's hope they can sort themselves out. They get run over by a speedboat, but that is the end of their threat to win this race, unless a lot more carnage happens in front of us.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a world of pain there for the reason they got hit by and typically it's pretty catabatic down the hillside. They got hit by a big squirt that caused them to be well tipped over, and that disturbed their tack. and they couldn't tack soon enough to get out.
But as leading boat, Bucko, going into Bradley's Point, why would they have gone that far? What caused that? Ultimately, that is an error, but what was their thinking? Why didn't they tack well before?
Well, because there's always sort of going to be had, you know, up to a certain dotted line that's invisible, you know. Mark, is this smooth water that we've got here now at the moment?
Crikey, it's Cape Horn. So basically, they were just tempted by a bigger gain by going further, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Well, it didn't work, that's for sure. They went a click too far. The good news for the rest of the fleet, including Smeg, who's just tacking in front of us now. Smeg has made a big gain right up into third position. As we said, URM are in second, but Tech 2 are the leader. So Winning Group, who were looking like a 1 point, they had an unassailable lead. They did, of course, get caught a bit on the downwind, just a bit, but they got around the bottom mark in great shape with a rock-solid lead. From that place, you'd normally expect them to go ahead and win the race, but no, not today. Didn't happen. Conditions are a bit challenging. It's just fresh enough you can make mistakes, and that's exactly what happens. So on the race course, where it is getting lumpier, there's a few more big passing gin palaces throwing up some proper man-sized wakes, that's for sure. But these guys,
there's one just above that square rigger where we are. It's going to be able to surf these at Waimea Bay.
Well, you've seen the square rigger on screen. The other side of it's a big gin palace. Look at the size of the wash on the screen in front of you. That's what the skiff sailors are up against. The other side of that, that's where we are, and that's where the skiffs are. As you can see, we're heading to the left side of the harbour again. Same strategy, same deal. In theory, it's flatter water here, Bucko, but right now there's nothing very flat about where we are.
No, but, you know, both Tech 2 and URM both going to the left side of the track here.
Look, this is a close boat race. Here we are. First and second are on camera without any kind of camera trickery. They're that close together. It's a 5 boat length base race between these two, and the third boat, Smeg, is only about another 7 boat lengths back. She's to leeward of URM. Pretty much all three would be in camera shot without much of a problem. They're that close together. This is a really interesting race. There's just an upwind, about 2/3 of this leg to go up, a downwind, and that's the finish. And I've got a feeling the downwind's going to be quite challenging.
Yeah, Mike, that's right. But there's a good drag race here, but URM a little faster again, I think. Just like the first beat. Just like you said. Yeah, exactly. Now, a little bit quicker. Are you thinking righting moment, new jib, setup? What's your first impression, Bucko? Well, the setup looks good. The setup looks good. Jack looks a bit less twisted in general, yeah? As in Tech 2. So a bit of a covering tack from Tech 2, got no interest in letting URM off the hook. No. You may as well just sit on top of them. And now you're going to see all 3 boats. There's Tech 2 on the left of your screen, URM in the middle, and just about to appear out of the right of your screen, there is Smeg. We'll just give you a chance to see where all 3 are. It's about a 5 boat length delta between URM and Tech 2, no more than 6 to 7 back to Smeg. Any one of these 3 can win the race. Behind them, Shaw and Partners, and then 4 Pines. And further back, well, you've got to have almost a set of binoculars, but it's Appliances Online and it's Kitchen Maker. I doubt any of those 3 are going to be in the top 3 unless our leaders have a big falling over style or technical problem. It's somewhere between these top 3 as to who's going to win this race. We're now about halfway up this beat. We are to the left-hand side of the beat still, and Bucko, it's the same issue. Are they going to tack back to the left, or are they going to minimise the tacks and just try and go from side to side? What would you do if you were the skipper? I'm going hard left again. You're going to keep tacking? Yeah, I am.
I'll tell you what,
At
boys,
least
I
one.
don't think Smeg's seen the ferry just here to your right-hand side.
He would have seen it.
I think Mick is
They've
having a
all
little
lowered
look.
himself on the hooks. There you go. That was
Nice call, Jimmy. There is the bow appearing.
He didn't see it. A panic look on all 3 crew members just then. What was that?
I think if you hear a siren followed by a tack, you know they didn't see it. That wasn't planned, but funnily enough, it's forced them back to the left, which is what Bucko was saying is where you've got to go anyway.
Have a look at the tidal wave of this powerboat. What a mug.
So here's our 3 leaders again. There is Smeg in 3rd position. On a bow is our leader Tech 2 going over a massive bit of wash from a passing power yacht. That's disgraceful, Mark. That is absolutely disgraceful. What, the boat or the wash or just going through there? The wash. Yeah, of all places they could have gone, not there. There's a powerboat travelling at that just above displacement speed that kicks up the biggest wash in the world. We're just going to hammer through it ourselves.
Quickest way and the smoothest way for us to get through that is to
That was good.
slow
Jimmy.
down and gun it.
But that was a 55-footer doing about 14 knots.
Yeah,
exactly
the worst
wrong-
speed possible.
wrong
That's
speed.
something one day we'll do a video to powerboats, which is these are the two speeds you can go at: displacement or planing, and preferably nothing in between. But that's a story for another day. Back to our race course. Here we have the three leaders in front of us, all going hard left, and they're all going to be start to think about lay line. They're not going to be on a lay yet, but another couple of tacks, they will be lay, and they mustn't make the mistake of overstanding. Remember, we talked to you about the fact the top mark is not as far up as it was on race one. It is a much closer affair. You don't want to do a big overlay, and every time I look at wind, Bucko, it looks a click windier. I think the Bearway and trying to tack and Bearway at the top mark could be seriously expensive.
I think they're all overstood almost anyway.
Yep.
Well, tied under, it is an issue. The overstanding is an issue here.
No, these guys are just right up on the ley line, I think. Wouldn't be too
Well,
worried. But
here
the Bearaway is certainly be testing now. It's
Here goes Smeg tacking in across. Look at the seaway they're trying to cross in. That's caused by that passing motorboat that Bucko was talking about a second ago. A really tough tack. I think Mika did a great job there. That was not easy at all. All three of them trying to tack the boat in this horrible cross sea. But they got away with that. They're still in this race.
Give the points there to Big Pete Harris.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The bowmen just have an awful lot to do with how these good tacks happen.
Yeah.
But you've got to have a good exit angle between the three of them. Lovely job of boat handling. Any one of these three can win this race. All it takes is the tiniest of errors, a not good hoist, exiting the wrong angle, one iffy jibe, and this could go any way you like. And just talking to you just for a second about the rest of the fleet. The rest of the fleet, they're not too far back. They're probably 30 to 45 seconds, and Appliances Online and Shaw and Partners and Kitchen Maker and then Royal Oak. That's the four who are in the group just behind our lead three. If these three get themselves in a bit of a cluster, then one of those other three boats could come into play. But for now, your top three is the same as you see right in front of you. Tech 2, Smeg and URM.
Yeah. I don't think URM's done themselves any favours by getting into the middle of the creek here. They've got a difficult ley line to pick. Smeg is slightly overstood at the present time.
That's going to be the boat handling challenge for them, Bucko. But if URM can nail the lay line from there, they come in on a nice, proper, slightly fat lay without any last-minute tacks. From a boat handling perspective, it could pay dividends.
Yeah, but I think, you know, Tech 2's made the job easy for themselves.
I agree. I mean, Tech 2 are not too close to the mark, but they should be able to set themselves up with a comfy lay.
That's right.
But the right to left tide, every time we look up here, it looks like they've overlaid. I think you're right.
These guys are just cracked. It doesn't actually hurt much because of the VMG curve's pretty flat. Bow down, the VMG goes down very little.
But it's the next manoeuvre, isn't it, that is the worry. It's the fact you have to tack followed by a bearaway.
Yep.
You just don't want to be tacking on the mark. Or just ignore the mark and sail past it. I think today, right now, in the next 30 seconds, is going to decide who the winner of this race is. URM off the right of your picture, they've tacked, they've chosen where they reckon the lay is. Jack McCartney on Tech 2 is about to tack and go round this mark. It is all about the bearaways and the sets. Here goes Tech 2. It's a windy tack. They were quite conservative just to set up for the tack. Jack McCartney's going to want forward boat speed before he even thinks about bearing away here. Tech 2 are the first to go for it. They're down speed, but they're going for the bearaway. No hesitation at all. Quite a ballsy call by Jack McCartney. And he's got the skills to do it. He's got the boat away. The bow is down. Really nicely done. URM go on the inside of Smeg. They got all that extra forward boat speed. Should make it easier, but Marcus just managing to find a gust when he didn't want it. He's gone full bow down. I think he's going to get away with this. I think he's under control just enough. He takes Smeg wide.
Living dangerously, it's called.
Living dangerously. URM's setup was really nice there. They just got a puff at the wrong moment. Didn't quite let the jib go, I think, fast enough. But in the end, they recovered. Great recovery job. But that's given Tech 2 a little bit of breathing space. In first place, top of your picture, Tech 2, followed by URM, followed by Smeg. All three getting away with this. Good skills and a challenging day. Behind them, it's still Shaw and Partners. Look like they'll be next around in fourth. Then it'll probably be Appliances Online, followed by Royal Oak and Kitchen Maker. But we're going to stay with the top three. There is still everything to play for here. It's going to get bumpy and gnarly at the jibe point, coming up in about 1 minute's time. We're going to see who's got the ability, get through the jibe at the right point, and in a perfect world, Bucko, they'd want to try and lay this in one if they could. Just not sure if they're going to get far enough down to do a one jibe to finish here.
Well, they'll try and go to the smooth water at Bradley's Head, which is also the best wind, more or less, provided they get onto this shore, the
And if they do, is it possibly layable from there to the finish?
Very close. But one more jibe in the rough water down the bottom.
Yeah, so there's at least 2 jibes. Very hard to see this is a 1 jibing in, as the yachtsmen call it, 1 to the finish. But probably 2 jibes to come.
Correct.
Anyway, this is full noise on Smeg and full noise on URM. And in the other side of them, just that you can't see right now, is Tech 2, but this is the drone shot flying in front. That's about the fastest the drone could go, I think. We're doing 20 plus knots. That's about 45 kilometers an hour. But the drone doing a nice job. John O'Witty, our pilot, getting it up and close as you possibly can. That's the way we want to see drones being flown and cameras being shown. Something for LGP to think about, I think. There's no one better than Aeromedia at showing you how to get a drone shot on Sydney Harbour. This is drone flying at the highest level, and skiff sailing also at the highest level as well. Here goes URM keeping it together. They're starting to think about the jibe now. And Bucko, are we going to see conservative technique here, or they're just going to launch it?
No, I think, like I said, I'd be
Smeg going for the jibe there.
Smeg early, not conservative. Beautiful job.
URM doing the same.
Really nicely done, conservative, but they got away with that with no problem. Same with URM, we've got a tear in the spinnaker on URM. Just look on the bottom of that spinnaker near the clue. You might see it a long way away. I don't think that's going to burst, but that is not going to help their cause. Smeg and URM sail out into the middle of the harbour. Tech 2, your leader, has just jibed, also successfully. We're close up behind them. We're going to give you a nice close shot in a second. But all our 3 leading boats have jibed cleanly. There's at least 1 more jibe to come, and the roughest of the water, where all the capsizes happen, is coming upon them awfully soon.
Fantastic action here, Tech 2. Just about on the ley line. They won't lay, they will have to do another jibe, but in the strongest wind at Bradley's Head. Fantastic.
Okay, they only need a couple of degree down pressure here. They're close to laying the finish boat. I can see it in the distance.
But Jimmy, you just get the feeling that somehow inevitably there's another jibe coming here.
No,
There always is, isn't there? When you don't want there to be one, there just always is.
The breeze squares them up a little bit as they go here.
Look at them bouncing around. We're now in the bumpy stuff. This is where the other boats capsize, and the last one on the way down. It just gets very, very lumpy with a cross sea caused by passing motorboats. But at the moment, our top 3 are all upright. We're all eyes on Tech 2. Our leader, fantastic performance so far from Tech 2. Can they bring it home? There's about another 2 minutes sailing to go. This would be a fantastic victory for Tech 2. The leader in our series overall. They got a 3rd in the first race. They're heading for a bullet in this second race. But inside them and behind them, they are being kept well and truly honest by URM and by Smeg. Smeg has now put a jibe in to come across the other side of the harbour. Nice jibe, they're still pointing the right way. URM continuing to shadow Tech 2, about 15 boat lengths behind and a couple up to windward. Just another minute and a half sailing at these kind of speeds to get into the finish. But there is definitely a jibe to come, and there is a nasty seaway. This is your highest percentage chance of a boat handling problem.
No, these guys are pretty good at the safety job.
You'd think, wouldn't you? Tech 2 looking good. We're about to see where the boat handling skills are. Sydney Harbour lit up behind them.
Okay. Not okay. Just having a look, James.
Ley line, well, still another few seconds to go, but Jack's looking under the boom, trying to keep a good eye on it. There's a bit of a seaway here as well. There's passing spectator boats. Our own spectator ferry is not a million miles away. Well, you can see us in the shot. We're just off his hip. We won't cause them any trouble. But there is definitely a jibe. They will not lay in one here. Great job by Tech 2. This is the small rig. I talked briefly with Jack before the race. He said they haven't seen the little rig much, but they're pretty confident it's going to work. He's got exactly the same setup he's had on a previous skiff with the little rig, and he was very confident this was going to be a fast setup. But very briefly, Bucko, on his performance to me, it's not been really about pure straight line speed. It's just been an all-round performance based on good strategy and top boat handling.
Yeah, and they've been accurate. Their ley lines have been good. They haven't taken too much risk.
Here's our leader about to cross, sorry to cut you off there, Bucko, about to cross the line. Tech 2 coming out of the far side is Smeg, who've got the ley line wrong. We'll get on to them in a second. This is what Tech 2 crossed the line. They win the race, second race of today. Congratulations, Tech 2. Awesome performance from our overall leader of the Australian Championships. Great job by Jack McCartney. But let's look behind us. We've got Smeg coming in here at full noise with URM. It's a port starboard as well. URM on port, but they're going to cross the line,
starboard,
clear ahead of Smeg. Smeg went just too far on the ley line. That's caused them a bit of grief. Without that, they would have been fully bow to bow. A little trip at the end, but they cross the line. That is also a great all-round boat handling performance by Marcus and his team. closely followed by Smeg. We always knew they'd come good when they got fresh. Well, they kept the other two very honest. These three leading boats ever so slightly in a class of their own, and a gap back to the next boat at least 45 seconds to a minute. It will be Shaw and Partners, but they are off in the distance. Bucko, your thoughts on the top three?
Well, that's some pretty good yachting that last lap there, particularly. Just a pity that Finport and Winning Group weren't here to enjoy the contest. But I think, you know, you'd have to say Winning Group won't make that particular mistake again. And Finport would have also enjoyed that had they not had some equipment issue which took them out of the race. But some pretty good sailing. But the cream rises to the top. And we did note, I think, you know, that the Tech 2 guys, Jack McCartney, Charlie White, and Trent Barnabas, very, very solid.
They did look solid. Solid and not slow at any point. Good upwind, good downwind, and also good starts from all the leading group, of course, started well. Tech 2, rock solid all day. That's exactly the kind of performance that Jack McCartney will want. Lead up 3 weeks to go to the JJ, as we keep reminding you, but that is in all their minds. There's no question that this is the Australian Championship. You want to have that, your name on the trophy if you can, but mostly you're just thinking about what can you do to optimise for the JJ. So that was James Doran crossing the line in fourth, and Kitchen Maker. That Kitchen Maker been a little bit off the scoreboard the last couple of months. Today, a bit of a return to form, right up with the leading group. Nice job by the Kitchen Maker. Jimmy, what's called today? Is Kitchen Maker back on it, and they've not had a great few weeks, have they?
Well, we haven't had a lot of time on those little rigs, Mark, and you know, the Kitchen Maker I'd always pin as one of the lightest crew, and they seem to have done very well today. So, yeah, I think they got their number 2 rig on song. So if I was them, don't touch it, don't pull the spanners out. Get to work on your big rig.
So yeah, little rig good, but work to do on the bigger rig possibly. But a nice performance by Kitchen Maker. Next across, where you saw Royal Oak, and there's the Planters Online going over now. We've got a pretty massive cruise liner, the good ship Carnival Splendor. I'm going to take a shot in the dark and suggest they haven't sold all the tickets for that boat that they wanted to. Bucko, do you want to take
problem with cruise ships?
Bucko, there's a spare cabin. Do you want to jump on board for a couple of days? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not sure where that one's going. I'm not aware.
Straight to Wuhan.
That one.
Going to the cleaners. Going to have a full hermetic is what I've heard.
Shanghai.
Here comes the Rag and Famish smoking into the finish.
Right, here comes the Rag. We're almost, our runners and riders are almost there. I've got a couple of boats up the racetrack, the ones that actually capsized on the first leg. They're having to play catch up now. There's Rag and Famish. They kept it upright the whole way through. And that pretty much...
Caligris was out here watching before, the owner of the Rag and Famish.
And we rather might think that the Winning Group's just gone straight home. Perhaps. It would have taken them a while to get out of the hole in the corner there. It's a big pothole if you get in where they were. It's terrible.
Okay, well, it's a long way up to the finishing boats. We're going to let them enjoy their sail down on a late Sunday afternoon. There's the Queensland boat, there's Noakes, and there's Ilve.
Yeah, there are a few more guys still coming, but I think we should just take a moment to commend the URM guys, Marcus Ashley-Jones, Cam Gundy and Lewis Brake. Terrific race from them, up range. They got the rig settings right. They're a pretty fast upwind. A little bit of finesse missing on a couple of little decisions, I think, but great to see them in the contest.
And that's their JJ crew, so first time they've sailed together. That's their first shootout. Great signs. Expect to see them. We hope to see good performance in the JJ. So look, thank you everyone for watching and listening today, whether you were live, recorded, wherever you were. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've had a great time on the harbour. I'm hoping this is the sign of what's going to come with the JJ, just 3 weeks away. Great conditions, race management, top dog, and as ever, the camera cat doing our best to bring you the pictures and the insights that matter. Thank you to our producers. Producer is John O'Witty, also the owner of Aero Media, and our drone pilot, and to our director Michael Chittenden and all his helpers on the side, and Jimmy Veery, great driving mate, thank you so much. Give us the right place. And Bucko, as ever, nothing but a pleasure hanging with you for a few hours wherever you are in the rest of the world. I hope you enjoyed today. Tune in next Sunday for another race, just a few weeks to go till the JJ. I hope you enjoyed today, but for now, from Sydney Harbour, my name's Mark Healy. Enjoyed spending time with you. Good day from us.